Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning if you're on the other side of the world or to the west of us. Thanks for joining today's live stream. Oh, hang on, wrong monitor on. If you're joining on our YouTube channel, welcome to you. If you're in our live streaming room, welcome to you as well. Today is not only going to be me, it's going to be with our special guest, Alexander, our product manager, who we'll introduce shortly. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you want to ask a question, you are very welcome, and you'll find the Q&A tab if you're in the live streaming room over on the right hand side. Try to keep your questions separate to the chat, because otherwise they're sometimes a little bit hard to find. We've also got Helen hanging out as well, looking at your questions too. If you're watching on YouTube, then again, you can put a comment into the chat box on the right hand side, and that will also come through to me and Alex. If you want to hide the chat, you can do so. Just hit that button over on the right hand side, and that will give us a bit more space on screen. Great. All right. So that should get us well covered. Today we're talking about styles, but I'm not doing that alone, as I said. So let's go ahead and find Alexander. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Hi, David. Thank you for having me. I'm good.
Alexander is one of our senior product managers, but perhaps I should let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Alexander. I have been with Capture One for 12 years now, most of my grown-up life. I'm also a photographer and very interested in photography and Capture One. I have helped launch features like AI masking and match look. I have also built a lot of the styles that we have been either including in Capture One or selling as packs. So I've done that a lot. So I'm very happy to be here to show up it today.
Yep, you're one of the main styles architects, right? We used to do, I guess it's fair to say, we used to pump out a lot more style packs, but they're definitely very time consuming to build.
Yeah,
For
they can
you
be.
at least anyway, but for you watching, it's actually pretty straightforward to build your own styles, and that is what we're going to talk about today. So we're covering a few different genres of photography. Me and Alex are going to take it in turns, and more importantly, I think the most exciting part is incorporating a lot of, I guess, dynamic power, if that's the way of putting it,
Yeah.
into these various styles.
Yes.
Going beyond just a basic style that throws a few adjustments on. So we're going to begin with Alex, right? Talking a little bit about regular styles building, what to do and what not to do. So let's bring
Yeah.
up your screen.
So yeah, I hope you see my screen.
Yep, all good.
So what I think I'm going to start talking a bit about is demystifying how to use styles a bit, because I see a lot of photographers who try out a style and they think, oh, this is not looking good, so let me not use this style.
Yeah.
And I think just by changing the mindset a bit and trying a bit more, a lot of styles can actually work. They just need a little bit of tweak. Let me try just some of the built-in styles that we have here so you can see what I mean. So for example, let's take, we can see this film K100 applied to this image. Let me just hide the browser a bit. I'm going to be using a lot of shortcuts. I'm sorry. This is not about using Capture One in general. This is going to be about using styles. I will, of course, try to explain if I do something shortcut related or editing related with a shortcut or styles related. But otherwise, let me know in the comment section if it's going too fast. Because I'm not used to this in the same way as David is.
I always go too fast as well, so yeah.
Yeah, but for example, this one, this might be a bit punchy, and some of the highlights might be too much. So you can just decrease contrast, of course, and get the highlights down. You can see this particular style here, it had a lot of highlights. So just bringing that down and then maybe tweaking the color tone a bit. There you go. And then it was significantly different from the initial style. It could also be that, let me zoom into the greens here, that you don't like this particular green color. You would like it to be more warm. And then you just go tweak that, because you can see it's already to the cool side here. You can tweak it towards the warm side, and there we go. So this is already a significantly different style than the initial one that I applied.
But it's still got you a long way down the editing
Yeah,
road as
and
such. Yeah.
exactly. And that's the point. So if you like the direction of a style, but there's something about it you don't like, you can quickly fix it. Let me try this one just for the fun of it. So let me try with one of the built-in ones again. Let me take Pastel Spring. Okay, this looks good, but it's slightly too desaturated. Now I'm going to be using speed edit quite a lot. If you don't know speed edit, that is holding down a key and then I can scroll. So you see down here, I'm holding down Q and I activate exposure. Just quickly show you where you can see speed edit. So keyboard shortcuts, edit keyboard shortcuts.
It's a
And then you
great
can go to
feature
speed edit.
which has been in what, for 5
Yeah,
years now? Maybe?
yeah. And it's especially useful when you are working with styles, because then you don't have to switch back and forth between the Styles tab and the Adjust tab. You can basically stay in the Styles tab and try out different styles. So I've just applied this Pastel Spring. I like the direction, but I need a bit more. So I'm boosting the exposure by holding down Q and scrolling upwards. It's slightly too much. And then I hold down R, which is the default for saturation, and then I scroll up. There we go. I will also need a bit more warmth in the image, so I hold down the number key 1, which enables Kelvin here, and then I scroll up a bit. I also want a bit more contrast. There we go. Maybe a bit more brightness. I like to use both brightness and exposure at the same time. It does slightly different things depending on the image, and especially when you're working with styles. I'll get back to that. So now let me just clone this one, remove this, and apply Pastel Spring. So just with a few tweaks, I went from this to this. So I like the direction, but I wanted a bit more. This is of course very basic, but it's just something to keep in mind when you work with styles.
And worth pointing out that everyone has access to these styles. If you haven't spotted them, there's built-in styles, and they're actually, a lot of built-in stuff. You can have the impression, okay, it's built-in, it's not good, but they're actually pretty nice. And of course, if you like the style, and like Alex just showed, if there's something you don't like and you can tweak in it, then of course you can always resave it as your own style. Nothing is, locked down or protected or anything like that. And we will cover how to save the style as well. Don't worry.
Let's actually do that now, because that might be a good segue into start building your own styles.
Sure.
Don't do it from scratch yet. Find some other style that you like, maybe some of the building ones, the built-in, or if you have bought a style pack from someone, but it's not quite there. You like the direction, but it's not quite fitting. Let's try to do that. So I apply this K100. It's way too contrasty, saturated, maybe way too warm. I can say that because I built it. So what I want to change here is I want it to be slightly brighter, a bit less contrast. So I tweak that again with speed edit, a bit less saturation. There we go. So I like this one. Now, I could, of course, just save it as a style. You can see up here it says adjusted, and then I could save it as a new style. But I want to try it out on a few different images before I save it to see if it works. So I can copy here. And now, I don't know if you noticed, but I changed the white balance and the exposure of this image before I started tweaking the style. And exposure and white balance is, for now, not something you want to include in a basic style. So if you're on the newest version of Capture One, or a few versions ago, we actually added this little adjustment clipboard here. Otherwise, you have it here. And this is a way to, when I copy the settings, to make sure that white balance and exposure is not part of it when I paste it onto other images. Let's try this one. So I paste it here.
Looks great.
It looks good. Let's try here. These are, by the way, all Capture One employees. You wouldn't believe it, but
everyone is extremely photogenic in Capture One.
So see, I applied it here. This is, in my opinion, too bright and slightly too cold, but I can quickly fix it with just exposure and white balance. There we go. So before and after. So I'm starting to like this one. Let me apply it to this one. Oh, it also looks good. So this is based on the K100, but with a twist. Reduced saturation, reduced contrast, and slightly more brightness. So, and we're still editing Capture One employees here. They look amazing. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. Let me try on this one. Yeah, okay. So now I have an image where I haven't applied anything but what was in my adjustment clipboard. That means there's no exposure change, there's no white balance change, and that makes a good basic style. So let me save that. And you can also see when you save, if you have accidentally included something that you shouldn't, before you save, you can change it. It's very important if you want to use it for generic purposes that you don't include stuff like composition. So if you have cropped your image, let's actually try that just for the fun of it. There we go. So you want to deselect composition, otherwise all your images will get a crop when you apply the style. That could of course be intended, but probably not. So here I'm going to save it. I'm going to call it Film K100 Adjusted. There we go. Now it will not show up next to this. It will show up in the custom styles up here. So let me find this image, for example, and apply the adjusted one. Yeah, it works. And also try here, adjusted. Yeah.
Yes, speed edit and this palette is such a powerful combination, because generally if you're using styles, you want to work quickly and efficiently. So switching between, another tool tab just to then scroll down and find a tool to tweak exposure is just, not efficient. So
yes, exactly.
if you're not a speed edit user, start looking into it.
Yeah, you should be for sure. Two little tips here. So I have rotated and cropped this image. I would like to apply a different style to it. So I clone it, and then usually you can click reset, but that also resets everything. But recently we have added this where you can reset except composition. So if you hold down Shift while you say Command R, it will reset but keep the composition. So it's a very nice way to like test out different styles on the same image. So let me do.
Yeah, that's a great addition, which popped up, I don't know, a few releases ago, kind of snuck in there, but it's super handy.
Exactly.
I don't know how you survive without that, actually.
No, some of the small like workflow additions that we put in going back to before that was implemented, that can be difficult. All right, so I think this is about general styles, and yeah, it's very important to test your adjustments without exposure and white balance on a variety of different images if you want them to be broadly applicable. And yeah, then when you save, make sure that you don't include composition as well, and exposure and white balance. Yeah, that's basically the only thing.
From Kintech here, my problem is naming those styles: Film V1, Film New V4, etc. Yeah, common issue. Yes.
Yeah. Let's try this one. So see, this one, this is already a bit muted. This is a Fuji shot, I think.
Yes,
so when I apply this one, I probably want to decrease exposure a bit and then increase saturation to get some of it back. There we go. So just a little analog feel to it, but not a lot. Another thing, let's go to some custom styles, because we do have for example, the Beyond Film pack, which is a pack that we put on the market some years ago. It has two folders. One of them is the actual look. The other one is the grain. And if you want to work with styles this way, you need to make sure that Stack Styles is enabled. I think it is by default, but that means that that you can click here and get a look, and then you can add on top of it with let's say some grain. So if I zoom in, you can see the different. I can preview the different grain here. So you can stack styles on top of each other, but to be fair, it's actually not stacking, because if I then apply a different style, it will replace most of the settings in this style with the settings from this style. So it's not really building on top of each other. I don't know if it's, what do you think, David? Is that a good enough explanation?
Yeah, I guess it will. Let's say you had +1 exposure in one style and +2 exposure in another style. It wouldn't then make +3. The +2 would replace the
Exactly.
+1. Yeah. But if we
Exactly.
had 10 plus contrast in the first style and 0 in the second style, it would stay at +10, I
Yes.
assume. Yeah.
But there's a way to actually do it if you want to, because one thing that we haven't really covered, which is going to be a nice segue into your section, David, but I can right click and say apply to new layer. This is also a very nice way of using styles, because then you get a new completely filled layer with the style applied, and then you can decrease the opacity of it to get like a reduced effect. But if I do that and take another style and say apply to new layer, I am going to get 2 layers each with the style applied. So in this way, they are actually building on top of each other. But that means that I can go half and half, or whatever opacity I want, and blend it in a nice way. So you can actually also play with different styles on top of each other using the layers tool.
Yeah. And then you've got multiple possibilities then. Alex, just
Endless.
quickly, endless for Jasmine's benefit. Can you just show the different reset options that were added if you just long
Yeah.
press? Yeah.
So we have reset, then we have reset the crop, and then we have the opposite, which is reset except composition. And by default, reset is Command R or Control R if you're on a Windows. And by default, again, if you hold down Shift to any of those combinations, you will reset except the composition. And also, so if I hold down Shift and reset, it's going to do this. But if I just reset regularly, it's going to do this.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to, assign custom shortcuts to this if you don't like it. But that's up to you and from the shortcut manager.
Cool. Nice
Yeah.
one. All right. Handy segue then into layers. I'm just checking for questions. Steph and Helen are answering, so that's great. Okay, let's switch over to my screen for a second. So as Alex hinted at, styles become, I guess, a lot more powerful, or would you say more versatile, in that the way they fit to images can be a lot better because of having this flexibility of dropping them onto a layer.
Yeah, exactly, the flexibility.
Yeah, which is important because as Alex, started out with, quite often we see, okay, I applied this style and I didn't like it, so it's a bad style and I'm never going to use it again. So it could just be one element, as Alex showed, let's quickly tweak this, but also by utilizing them on a layer, then it can be much more interesting. So Paul Reefer, who you might know, friend of the house, also runs his own YouTube content as well, also created a style pack for us. And then when layers became compatible with styles, I can't remember when that was. That was,
It was a few years ago.
yeah, version 23 maybe, actually, or 22.
Yeah.
I think it was the first iteration of 16, whatever that was. So it's probably 6 releases back, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, so originally all styles were based like so. So for example, this particular style helps to reduce the warm glow in traffic trails and other stuff, as you can see. Max range, just basically meaning it will maximize shadow and highlight retention. You can see it's a little bit different as we flick through, but applying this, let's say I apply this style. Oh, actually I need to take this one off, sorry. Let's say I apply this style once more, like so. We've got our max range going on, and that's just applied to the image layer. So you can see obviously a lot of stuff is going on, but if I decide, okay, that's a little bit too strong, then I need to go through and sort of almost dissect the style and figure out what's going on and so on and so forth. So I'm going to undo that action, and then what happened is that once we brought about the compatibility of layers into styles, lots of style packs were updated. I'm going to have a look at another one in a minute with different kinds of photography. Is that if I now apply this style, you'll see it actually drops it on a layer by default at 50%. So what this means, and of course you can do this with your own styles as well, I can then obviously reduce the effect or increase the effect without having to go through and pick apart the style and think, okay, the color part was here, the contrast part was here, you know, what do I need to do? Which can be very time consuming, and this makes it a lot quicker, of course, as it does with working with speed edit as well. So this was at 50 roughly at the start, and I think, you know what, I don't mind that being a bit warmer, so I'm going to drop that back. Job done. Much quicker. If I
Sure.
if I switch to Alex, let's
Oh
grab
no.
Alex and take, let's just take this one. So I'm going to reset that. So these have no adjustments. So if we take Nordic, so now they're listed as advanced or standard. So standard, let's put on Copenhagen 3 as an example. Again, this will just apply bunch of sliders to here, and of course I can see, for me, I like the color, but it's a little bit too contrasty, so I'm going to have to go in and, you know, tweak the levels a little bit, or pull the contrast back down, and so on and so forth. So again, that's a little bit more time consuming than if in your styles, and of course if it's available in styles that you've bought, is that now, so pretty much this and this gives us the same initial effect. Is that right, Alex? I'd say they look
Yeah,
pretty
approximately.
similar.
Yeah.
But now if I apply Copenhagen 75, what it actually does is apply a color layer. So this has all the color elements of the style in, which is great for you guys to do when you're making your own styles, and all the contrast elements, and contrast is set with a 75% opacity. So I said I feel this is a little bit contrasty, so I can quickly drop that down, and then I can see what the color toning is doing, and I can arrive at my preferred point. Again, way quicker than just having all the adjustments on one style. Now I guess there are some disadvantages to applying this on mass, I suppose, because we just had an interesting question, like if you have 100 photos and you apply a layered style to all those photos, you can't necessarily instantaneously change all the opacity and all the photos by 10% or something like that.
No, there's a little
Yeah.
trick. Of course, you can copy just the layers panel, select all images,
Yep.
reset the layers panel,
Yep.
and then paste it. It requires a few clicks, and you need to know what you're doing, but you can do it.
You can do it that way. I think someone also made an Apple script for it as well. I have a
Mm.
feeling. So if you hunt around. Um, so yeah, first of all, don't forget you can include layers into your style, and it's as simple as taking an image, creating the layers that you want, setting the opacity that you feel looks good. So if you're, you know, creating a color effect, one thing you can do is when you add your new field adjustment layer, drop this down to whatever, 50%, make your color toning so it looks good, and then you have the ability to increase the effect or reduce the effect. So if this was our color, for example, oops, cooler color, and then we made another field adjustment layer, long press, and this was our contrast, and I set contrast to whatever, 70% or something. When you save the style, it's really important that you do it from the styles palette. So over here you'll see save custom style up in styles and presets, and what you'll see is that it shows you the layers and the name of the layers. And the same rule as before, if you've applied a crop or some white balance or something like that, make sure that's not checked in, and then you've got your layers or your style, I should say, safely saved into your layers.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, because you can actually right-click a layer
Yes.
and save the adjustments from there, but that will only be the adjustments from the layer.
Yeah, which won't do what you want it to do. And actually, while this one has popped up, you can also convert what you've created into a layer as a style brush, but that's, I guess, a whole other conversation as well. Cool. All right. I think next thing I'm going to talk about, let me just check for questions actually. Yes. So, little spoiler alert, Stephen was asking, will we be covering how to incorporate styles in batch processing with things like smart adjustments, subject selection, background selection? Yes, we certainly will. And there's some
Yes.
really cool stuff which Alex is going to show with smart adjustments, retouch, and so forth, which gives us what did you call it, Alex? A portrait toolbox almost?
Yeah, you can get quite far with just one click if you build your styles correctly.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So very briefly talking about AI kind of thing. So these were field adjustment layers, of course, which create the effect over the whole image. But we can do, if I bring up, I'm going to give you two examples. I've got a people example here, and then we can also talk about it in this kind of context as well. So subject and background masking, let's reset this. This can also be incorporated into a style, and the important thing to recognize here is that the subject and background selection will be based on the image you apply it to, not what was saved in the style, if you like. So if I do a subject selection, which will give me this, and I grab a background selection, which will give me this. And let's say I want to do a couple of tweaks. So on my background, I'm going to throw in like a little bit of a cooler tealy tint, something like that. And on my subject, we're going to make him a little bit brighter, add in some contrast and clarity sort of thing. So we've done a couple of basic things. If we look at before and after, let's bring the split view. So you can see the change in the color tone, and we've just given him a little bit more pop as well. So you can see here in the layers, we've got these two symbols, which basically mean it's a subject or a background mask. Hey, Alex, maybe we should flip the black and the white on those little icons.
Yeah, perhaps.
Perhaps. Anyway, it means these are either a subject or a background mask, and it names it appropriately. So when I go ahead back into my styles palette and say save custom style, you'll also see, oh look, it's different there. Interesting.
What's another thing that's important here is this will only work. Sorry to interrupt, David.
No, go ahead.
This will only work with AI masks that you have not interacted with the viewer to achieve. So if you use
Yes.
the AI select to click on your image, that will not transfer in a style or copy apply. Because when it's only the subject, background, and what's available in the people masking that's going to work in a style or with copy apply. So for example, if you use the subject masking but remove the shoes
Yes.
from the mask, that's not going to work in a style. It's not going to do the subject minus the shoes. It's only going to do it what you can achieve without like touching the image itself.
Yeah, because these kind of masks are based on image recognition. So of course, when we say subject, Capture One does its best interpretation of what the subject is. But as Alex said, if you remove the shoes, you know, on the next picture, like there are no shoes in this picture, for example. So, you know, or if there was shoes in another picture, the subject detection is subject, it's not subject minus shoes. I mean, yes, we could have an enormous list of categories and so forth, but there also has to be some simplicity around it as well. So when I save my style, so I call this subject background pop, whatever. And did I put a space there? Yes, and save that. And then if I go to this image, for example, styles and presets, custom styles, click that, then that will recreate the background and the subject mask obviously being different for my subject here as an example. Same goes for a totally different one like this. Let's throw that in as well. And then we've got our subject background pop like so. So they are recalculated. Now, you could also do that when you were shooting tethered. So if you were shooting in the studio, headshots, portraits, whatever, doesn't matter. As you shoot tethered, then those will be recalculated as the image came in, but I guess with some kind of performance hit, depending on
Yes,
computer, megapixels, etc., etc.
exactly.
Yeah.
I actually used it. I shot some Christmas portraits of my son,
Nice.
and I had an almost white background, but I wanted it to be completely white. So I have a style at home, which is a whitened background style, which applies when I shoot. It adds a second or two, but it's just nice that it's almost a finished image when it comes in.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not necessarily needing to look at every single image as it comes in, maybe when you're
No,
dialing in the right lighting and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, once you're getting going and shooting, if there's a few seconds of catch up, it really, yeah, makes no difference.
yes,
If you haven't experimented with subject masking outside of people, then it's actually weirdly impressive on subjects where you wouldn't think it would be able to, pull out the subject. So if I say subject here as an example, then it pulls it out pretty nicely. Same goes for this one. Let's just reset all the layers and say subject, then it does a pretty nice job for that. So if you're creating a style, let's say on my subject mask here, I want to do the same thing, contrast, clarity for a little bit of pop, maybe some saturation as well. Then if I save that as my style once before, there we go, and I'm going to turn off white balance and say save that, call that subject, contrast and sat, save that. We can equally go to another, let's just reset that, equally go to another one, contrast and saturation, and away you go, like so, and that's pulled that out perfectly well as we did before. So yeah, don't be afraid to use these tools. They're not just for people, they're also for a variety of other different subjects as well. Cool. All right. How are we doing for questions? Let's see. Oh, lots of questions. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go through one of these whilst you're speaking, and then we'll pull out a couple across, because now we're going to talk about the exciting stuff. Well, it's all been exciting so far. The more exciting stuff, which is incorporating some of those things Stephen asked about, smart adjustments, and so forth.
yes. So I have added smart adjustments to the workspace here. It's not there by default. It has been replaced by match look, but smart adjustments is still available in Capture One. So you just need to add it by right click and say add tool, and then find smart adjustments, and then it's going to show up at the bottom of your tool tab. So you can just bring it up wherever you want. If you don't know smart adjustments, it's a way to set the white balance and exposure based on a reference of a face. So smart adjustments works only with faces in the image, but it works quite well to get a nice like normalization of white balance and exposure. So let me try to actually make a new style with smart adjustments included. So let me take again a built-in style. Let me take F400. There we go. Gonna boost it a bit to make it slightly softer. So brightness up, contrast down, and I think it's nice. So what you want to get is a pleasing white balance and a level of exposure of the skin in your image. And I think this is okay. I'm going to test it. So what you do is you set your reference in Smart Adjustments, then you say Save Style, and here there's a little tick mark up here with Smart Adjustments, and you can hover this one to read what it does. And basically, smart white balance and smart exposure is going to change exposure and white balance, but based on the face. So you're not going to include exposure here or white balance here. It's going to do it in a different way. So let's call this F400 plus smart adjustments SA.
So the white balance that you've set here, when it's applied to a different image, we will try to, and it's not about, I think the important thing, we're not going to match skin tone color, we're matching a white balance. I think is a slightly different differentiation.
Yeah, but it is based on the skin tone still.
Okay.
Let me try so you can see. So I have this as a reference. I saved a style F400
plus smart adjustment.
Let's apply it here. So you see when I preview it, it's not going to include the white balance and everything that's in the smart adjustments. So the preview might be off. So if I click here, there we go.
Nice.
You see it calculated and gave me roughly the same white balance. This is super nice if you want to, let's take all of these, reset them. Now we do have some with slightly darker skin tones, and that's going to be a challenge because the skin tone need to match. So if the reference I made was from fairly light skin. So if wait, let me just show you instead of talking.
Let's see what happens.
So you see the white balance was okay because white balance is fairly universal across, but we do have some exposure challenges down here. And it would be the other way around if I used these down here as a reference. So you basically want to either have multiple versions of smart adjustments because it's based on skin tone, depending on if your subject has light or dark skin, or you can just, as I did here, quickly tweak it with edit, because it took me like 2 seconds.
But the important thing is the overall color balance, look and feel is super nice and consistent. Yeah.
So let me show you. So before and after. So this is now a look with built-in white balance correction. We actually have a few images that's completely off in both exposure and
white balance. Which we did on purpose, right? We're not terrible.
Yeah, we did this on purpose. Don't worry. We're not that bad photographers. So if I just apply the standard F400 to these, it's going to look like this. If I apply the smart adjustment F400 to them, they're going to look like this. So as you can see, including smart adjustments in your styles, if you're shooting portraits, can give you a massive boost in efficiency towards what you want to do. I hope that some of the jaws dropped a bit by seeing this, because this was a one-click edit.
Yeah, and if you've done just the standard style, which of course is what people tend to do, is it's like, oh God, this style sucks. I've now got to go and fix a whole bunch of stuff. Whereas putting the smart adjustment on, ta-da, 90% there.
Yeah, so I've shot a lot of weddings, and I have my typical wedding color style. And I've actually included smart adjustments in it because most of the time, more often than not, it's going to get the exposure and white balance closer to what I want. So I have to tweak less image by image. So you can basically batch apply this to, 500 images, and you're going to have a better starting point than without smart adjustments.
Definitely.
Cool. So that's smart adjustments. Let's do some people masking.
Yes.
Let's take this one.
Celine says smart adjustments looks amazing. Yes, it is, and it's been there a while, and I think and I had this reaction as well when it came out. It's like, well, how good can it be? How good can it be if it's only adjusting exposure and white balance? Like, surely we need to do other stuff, which occasionally you do, but you can see the result from starting an edit to finishing an edit is, sorry, I'm back to front, is obviously a lot quicker with smart adjustments than just a basic style, which you then have to go ahead and tweak. Yes, you might need to play around with highlights and stuff. But as you've seen with speed edit, it's then really easy to do some quick tweaks as well. And that
Yes.
uniformity of color across, let's say you're shooting an outdoor, campaign and you're moving around different locations and the light's changing, doesn't matter, you still get that super nice consistency.
Also, a little bonus tip with speed edit. So let's say that our smart adjustments reference was way too bright, like here.
Like
If you
that,
have
yeah.
multiple images selected and you use speed edit, you can just bump them down with the same amount at the same time in a split second.
Yeah, which is great.
So you're
And the
done.
difference with speed edit here is that, let's say those images all had slightly different exposure adjustments. When
Yeah,
you
they do.
use speed edit, it reduces it all by it doesn't then make them all say -1 stop or +1 stop. It's adding to, I guess, use a nerdy term, a delta change
No,
to
but
each of
it
those.
is it
Yeah.
is yeah, adding or removing one stop, but it's not the absolute value. So it's
It's
not
not
like
the
copying the
absolute. Yeah,
same exposure.
exactly.
So you're
So
not
they
going to
don't
get the
all
same exposure
become
value.
-1 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see they're all different, but
Hmm.
I I darkened them using the same amount of exposure.
Hmm.
All right, let's try to build a style here that includes people masking.
Yes.
First, I'm going to base it off. Let's do a black and white actually, because it looks super cool on this guy. A good colleague here. So I'm gonna dial it in just a little bit. Okay, zoom in here. So what I would like to do here is, I think, a little more pop to the face skin. So if I create a mask for that, get this, so I can increase contrast a bit. Just make sure that white is down a bit so it doesn't burn out. Increase contrast, a little bit more brightness. There we go. So you can see before and after.
Hmm.
Maybe it's slightly too dark. I would also like to brighten the eyes a bit. So that's going to be pupil and iris and sclera in one. I'm not going to make separate masks. I'm going to need both of these in one mask.
Hmm.
So I'm going to create a mask here. Got this one. Ooh, demon.
Superman eyes. Yep.
Yeah, the boys. Brighten them. A bit of contrast, brightness, maybe some shadow recovery. Oh, that's too much. Just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. And yeah, actually, let's stick to this one, because then if I go here and say save custom style, you can see that it now has the two layers with people masking applied, with a little people mask icon here. So again, I'm gonna untick exposure. I don't need that. And let's save it as black and white people masking. There we go. Let me apply it to this one. There we go.
Nice.
Let's see before and after with the, I can make a variant without the layers. So it's a subtle difference, but I hope you can see it.
Yep.
And it's just a little more, I mean, you can do whatever you want. We also have, for example, hair masking. If you need a style that gives a little pop to the hair. So let me add one here. And then I've seen that adding a bunch of clarity to the hair can actually make it quite interesting. So you can see before and after, just a little pop to the contrast
Highlights.
in the hair.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope you can see it online.
Yeah, we can.
So before and after, that you can also include in a style. And let us actually go one step further. So we have, okay, that was smart adjustments and people masking. Of course, we also recently added the retouching. So let me put smart adjustments, people masking, and retouch
together
into the same style.
Yeah.
So let me base this off of K100.
Okay.
Okay. So dial it down a bit with exposure. It's too bright. Too much contrast, so I'm going to dial that down again. I need it a bit warmer. There we go. And a bit less saturation. There we go. All right, so this was the initial look, and I have the white balance and exposure as I want. Now, let me go to the Retouch tab. There's not much to retouch here, but a little slight blemish removal, little dark circle, not that much. I could probably use a bit, being a dad. I'm going to retain a lot of the texture and just a little bit of even skin and then some contouring to get, yeah, there we go. All right. So you can just see before and after of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Then I will go here. I will add a hair mask, and we can call it hair pup. Add some clarity to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a little bit of shadow recovery.
There we go. Yep. Nice.
Depending on, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe it's too much. I'll just do
a little bit.
We don't have time to fine tune. Then let's do an eye pop as well. Just a little bit.
Oh, I think you had face skin in with that, didn't you? Yes.
Whoops. Good catch. I can also check
pop.
it with hitting M to see the actual mask. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And here, of course, I need to check it way up close. Eyes pop, so I would like some clarity in that. I would like some shadow recovery. And
I think that's you in the reflection, right?
Yes. This
is
is actually me. I might even be wearing the same shirt as right now. Yeah. So I ran around at a company event at some point shooting portraits of a lot of my colleagues. Okay. So we have this. It's good. Let's do lips as well. And darken them slightly. And up the saturation slightly. And a bit less contrast. Yeah. Maybe that's good. Okay, so we have, let me do a before and after of just the layers. If you hold down Option, you can long press this one. And you'll see before and after. Oh, maybe the hair is slightly too bright, actually. Let me... Seeing that before and after. There we go. Okay, this is okay. Might not be super perfect as I would like it to, but it's all right. So we now have people masking, we have a bit of retouch, and when I save the style, I can save smart adjustments up here instead of the white balance and exposure here. So I have the lip mask, eyes pop, hair pop, I have retouch, I have everything else from the style. Don't need these.
Secret stuff.
Secret stuff. And let me save. So let's call this K100 plus smart adjustments plus people masking plus retouch. Now, I of course saved it completely unaware if it would be working on other people. Rookie mistake, but let's try. So click here.
Boom. There we go.
There we go. Let me try these two. Actually reset these two. And I have edit all enabled. There we go.
There we go.
So I went from this
to that.
To this. I think this one is actually super impressive. If you look at the before and the after in one click.
Definitely.
And this is something that you of course can experiment with. If it's too much retouch, you can even save this retouching with a reduced impact. So it works like opacity with layers. And then you can go in and say, I want less or more retouch. But basically all of this recalculates when you copy paste or save it in the style. I think if it can help you get closer to your final result, you should try to include it in a style and see if you can include it in your workflow. Because even if you don't, like, you can make one without the lips mask if it's crazy, or you can have it unticked by default, so it's just ready if you need it. So the tick state will also be saved in your style.
That's a great tip, actually. So you could have, you could have the same, you could save the same style a bunch of different times as well, with various options checked and unchecked, rather than having to, delete layers, saving a new style and so forth. That's a great insight.
Let's actually check the mask for this. So if I hit M, you can see here, I can also hit Option M to see the grayscale version of this mask.
Nice.
So this is the hair, this is the eyes, this is the lips. So it's actually doing quite a good job at catching that. So yeah, I think that was showing smart adjustments, people masking, retouching, all in one go and all within styles.
Which you could shoot tethered doing that as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. You could. It's gonna, of course, it's a lot of different AI models that run to detect all of this stuff.
Yes.
So it is going to be a bit resource heavy, especially if you're on an older computer. But if you have a fairly new computer and you're not shooting 100 megapixel files, and you're not shooting super fast either, it should be fine. You can see if I copy here, so copy, I can basically copy this look over here and paste it, and done.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah. So this, if anyone is wondering, this is an M3 Max MacBook that I'm running on.
Yeah. So not the latest and greatest. Yeah.
No, but definitely a powerful one. Let's try on this one. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe slightly too dark. So I'll just boost the exposure a bit. And I think we're there. Okay, let's move on to the last part, unless there's any questions about this.
Yes, so there's a good question to segue in. Should we use smart adjustments with match look? When we're going to talk about match look in a second.
Yes.
There's a couple of questions. Will a face style work on multiple faces in the same shot? Yes, so it would. If you make a face mask, if there's more than one face, it will create a mask for each present face, as far as I can remember. That's correct.
Yeah, but it's going to be on the same layer. So it will make one layer with a mask covering every single thing.
Every single face.
And regarding smart adjustments, if there are multiple people, it's going to do an average of all the faces in the image.
Yep, cool. Sergio was asking, did you say you'd have to unmark the white balance exposure on the smart adjustment when saving the style? Not on the smart adjustment itself. When you save the style, you deactivate exposure and white balance.
Yeah, and it's actually a good question if you have to, or if we just disable the, you can say, dumb settings from the regular exposure and white balance. Yeah. So we replace them with the smart adjustments. I think that actually happens.
Yeah.
So I don't think it makes a difference if you untick the regular one as well. You just need to make sure smart adjustments is.
Yes. So just go into save style for a second. So yep, Sergio, what we meant was if you've got smart adjustments on, you turn off exposure and white balance here, not in the smart adjustment panel. But we think maybe we're doing that automatically. I can't actually remember.
Perhaps you don't even need to do this. I think smart adjustments will overrule it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is another great example, sorry, of the style that we just made. Let me just, okay, this is too good. Sorry. I'm just going to steal all your time. Go full screen and do a before
and after.
And after.
Nice.
I think it's nice. It works quite well.
It does, yeah. And these are all different cameras as well. So this has been a whole variety of different cameras, different camera models, different manufacturers. So that's Sony. These ones were Canon. I think there was some Fuji stuff as well. So yeah.
Ooh, let's try this one. This is going to overexpose, but I will just bring it down. So overexpose, bring it down with speed edit in a split second.
There we go.
And then we're done.
Nice. Oh, before and after, someone was asking why on your keyboard. Yeah.
Yes. And you can either do this one before and after, or you can do a full view before and after.
Mm-hmm.
And to switch between that with the keyboard, you hold down Shift. Then you can switch between the two modes. Yeah?
Yep. Very nice. Cool.
Any more questions?
I think we answered, there was a couple of questions about, applying styles to several hundred photos and you want to change one specific thing for all the photos, like a certain layer or the exposure. The efficient way to do that is speed edit for one. But if you've got a layered style, as we said, if you want to change one thing, you can select all the other pictures, reset the layers only, and then copy paste from your donor image to everything else once you've tweaked the layers. So that's the most efficient way to do
Let
it.
me actually do that. Let me
Yeah.
show you. So I have here, I do this.
So that's applying everything to all three. Yeah.
And now I need to, the hair pop mask is, I need it to, I need her to have gray hair. So I do this.
Sorry to
Then
our colleague.
what? Yeah. Then what I would do is copy the layers, just the layers.
Yeah.
And then go to these two, reset the layers, and then apply. No, sorry, apply here. Ah, wait, I did it wrong.
Copy.
Sorry. Copy here,
Copy.
and then reset the layers tool, and then apply. Yeah, I first need to deselect the one I copy from.
There we go.
But otherwise, this is the way to do it.
Cool. Perfect. That answers that. Nice. Okay, so yeah, as I said, the segue question was, would you use smart adjustments with match look? And I guess match look is somewhat of an evolution from smart adjustments, but also different as well. So,
yes.
Yeah.
So here I have a bunch of references that we can use in match look. So let me just take one and say we would like this kind of look to be on one of our images. So I can say use selected variants. Now I have the match look reference here. I can decide what sliders, what adjustments I wanted to change, but I'm just going to leave everything on default. Also the impact on default, 100. Let's go back here and say that we want to apply it to this image. So I hit apply. Oh, it's actually not bad.
That's pretty good, yeah.
So what match look will do, it will try to normalize the white balance and exposure of your image using AI. So it's slightly different. So let's reset these. So here it got it slightly wrong, perhaps. So what you could do is you take this one, you go to Smart Adjustments, set that as a reference.
Right.
Then you can apply to these two.
Nice.
Then you untick Normalize, because Normalize will do exposure and white balance. And then you apply. Yeah, it is a bit... No, actually, it's okay.
Yeah,
you can warm them up a bit.
Yeah.
But you can juggle between, would you like match look to also change white balance and exposure, or do you not want it to? We can also try the other way around.
You could also save a style from the match look, I suppose, with a smart adjustment in there.
Not quite. Match look cannot. It will be a preset, so you can save this reference as a preset, and the settings, whatever you have here, and you can apply it easily, but you cannot mix it with other things.
No.
So
the adjustments that it's applied to this image, for example, we could save as a lockdown style kind of thing, if you like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's say that we let's do this from scratch. So we went from this to this using this reference. Now, if I save a preset here, what I'm going to save is the match look reference, but I can go into the styles and presets tool and say save custom style. let me not have exposure and white balance, but just create a style based on match look. So match look style or match look inspired
Inspired
style.
style,
No.
right.
So you can see I can apply that and then tweak exposure and white balance a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have it.
Nice.
Let's try to build another one using match look. I think there's one that is a bit analog. Where do we have it? This one.
Mm-hmm.
You can also drag it in like this. Okay, and then go to, for example, this one. So if I apply here, you can see it went from this to this. And this kind of filmish look, I can now work a bit more with. So let's say I want to save this as a style. I would like it to be slightly more desaturated. So I do this, go to the Refine tab because I want some silver rich to be part of it. And just to make it look slightly more analog. Let me see. All right. So before and after, save it as a style and say not exposure, not white balance. And match look analog style. And then based on this match look style, you could apply it here, fix the exposure and white balance. Then you go in here, smart adjustments, set that as a reference, and then you can save it because now it's a regular style. So let's save it as a match look analog style plus smart adjustments.
Smart adjustments.
Oh, now it's going to get super tricky.
A bit Inception.
We are mixing and matching everything.
Yeah.
But there, you see?
Yeah.
So this is a match look inspired style based on this reference. But then I applied smart adjustments to it to make sure that the exposure and white balance was correct. Because if I didn't do that, let me reset exposure and white balance.
It would look like this.
So without the smart adjustments, it would look like this. But with smart adjustments, we got a correct skin tone and a decent exposure.
Nice.
Let me see if it works on this one as well. Yeah, there we go. So you can see, again, if I clone this image and I reset exposure and white balance.
It would look like this.
So without smart adjustments, with smart adjustments. So yeah, based on a match look.
So that was match look, smart adjustments, and styles together.
Yeah, the only thing missing in this style is some people masking or AI masking, but yeah, you can do a lot.
Yes.
And I really hope that you get some inspiration on how to play with styles, how to mix and match, how to get closer to your desired output. And really the mindset about it needs to be 100% correct off the bat, otherwise I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
That's dangerous and limiting to, I think, to what you can achieve with styles.
Yeah, because quite often just, that quick exposure tweak, white balance tweak is all that's needed, and then you're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So look at this. Beautiful. Slightly warmer.
The only thing we didn't add in that was retouching, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People masking and retouching.
And retouching. Yeah. Okay, couple of questions to finish up with. Vim was asking, are you planning to work on any new styles in the future?
Yes, we are. Actually, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say, but there is something here. I'm not going to expand it, but portrait toolkit that might come in your hands at some point.
Cool.
In some way, I'm not sure how, but basically mixing and matching some of this in a clever way, so it's easy to work with.
Yeah, I think because a lot of this stuff can be individual and custom to your kind of photography. So,
yes.
always the danger of, you know, one-click styles, as you say. I think anyone advertising, you know, one-click styles, as you say, it's not necessarily one click. It's one
No,
click and a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
unless of course they use smart adjustments and everything, then it
And
might
then
be
it
one
is one
click.
click. Yes. Capture one only. Jorge
Yes.
says, great presentation. Can you explain what differences we might expect using match look with RAW versus JPEG?
Yes,
Mm,
and that comes down to basically the limitations of JPEG anyway. So if you
mm,
try to use especially highlight recovery or white balance or exposure on a JPEG, you might get suboptimal results. And that
mhm,
you can say translates into the results that you might get when applying with Matchlook. I don't know if you were asking about the difference between applying to a JPEG or using a
mm,
JPEG as reference, because
mm.
the reference can be anything. That doesn't
Yep.
matter. It doesn't need to be a raw file at all.
Mhm.
But when applying to, you get the limitations of the tools on JPEGs.
Yeah, white balance is very limited on JPEG, as an
Yeah.
example. So
Yes.
Klaus is
Any
asking about
comments?
matching video to photo.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a whole different webinar
Yes.
than this. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you
There
could,
was.
if you have a still frame from a video, you could of course take it
Mhm.
into Matchlook and see how close it can get your still. Unless it's the other way around, you need to do it.
Yep. 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 Monique was actually asking, is the portrait toolkit available? So there we go. Maybe there
Um,
is a
not yet.
demand. Not yet.
Not
Yes.
yet.
Yep.
I'm still working on it.
JC was asking, are all the styles on our Alex's computer meant to be standard? So the ones you see under built-in styles, that's everything that
Yes.
you should have in Capture One.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that I used, basically, or these packs are not, but
No.
everything that we built
Hmm.
from, every style that we built a new style from, was one of the free built-in
The
styles
freebies.
here.
Yeah. And
So
there's
you have
nothing
all
to
of these
stop you
available.
building off those. So
No.
doing exactly what Alex did, grabbing a style, tweaking, changing it a little bit, getting inspiration from it, you know, cutting half of it out and doing something else. It's like nothing is locked down or protected. So anything in that built-in styles pack is there. What's in culture? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
except for
that's
cultural heritage.
yeah. The cultural heritage is a special one that I have
Yeah,
available.
something else we're playing with as well. um, I think that's pretty much. It is also recorded this, so if your mind is blown, then you can watch it again on YouTube very shortly. So it is worth going back over it and deciding how deep you want to dig into it as well. There was also a few questions about LUT files as well and the support of Capture One in that. And I don't know if there's any general comment we can say about LUT files.
Yeah, not really something that is supported.
No, but I think with the
Yes.
options that you have in styles, then you can build a pretty
Yeah,
nice ecosystem inside Capture One and use
for
Match
sure.
Look if you've got some film looks like, or if you're inspired by a particular film or TV production, you can use Match Look
Hmm.
to, you know, build styles off of that as well, which can be super interesting to do as well. We even experimented in Matchlook with just putting a color palette, and that also
Oh
had
yes.
some interesting results as well. Not always reliable, but
Yes.
sometimes it was
No.
actually pretty spot on. You
Yeah,
know?
it's a little final comment about Matchlook. It's not for like precision. It's for it's to play and
Yeah,
to explore different creative directions.
yeah, exactly. And at the end, Lever said, "You're just playing now, guys." But you know, it really does show you what's possible, and that just going beyond applying a bunch of adjustments to an image, that's not just what styles are. There's like this whole bigger potential that you can do with all the various things that we showed. So thanks for joining in today. As we said, it has been recorded. It will be straight on YouTube. So if you head to our YouTube channel, you can always go ahead and find that. And I'm just going to hide you for a second, Alex, sorry. But if you go to it, we can still hear you, so you can heckle in the background. But if you go to this page, so our live stream page, you can always scan this QR code or just go to support.capture1.com and you'll find the live streams are always listed there. But if you follow the live streams page, then you'll get a very quick email notification whenever we put anything else up. We will be on a bit of a kind of short break over the summer, but I'll be back in September time, I think, with the next live stream and some more exciting updates. So thanks for joining again, Alex.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
No, it was, as always. So hopefully we get you back in the future. All right. Take care, everyone, and see you soon. Bye now.
Bye.